Hey guys, we're back. So, looks like we might have... Did we level up? Okay, yeah. Territoriality. Any hostile spirit. That's pretty powerful, but very situational. Rat Totem Invocation can steal control of spirits that have been summoned by enemy shamans. Note that only one spirit can be under control until rank 5 spirit control, where it increases to 2. Okay. Poison. I have to look at the rest of these just to think ahead. Acidic Fog. Wells HP damage, that's useful. Shrine spirits summoned by Goblin are now present for an additional turn before dispelling themselves for a total of 3 rounds. You gain spell Plague Barrier. Goblin gains a Conjuring spell which sets 4 heavy cover barriers that last 3 rounds. Anyone that enters takes minus 14 HP. That's powerful. Standard equipment. Haste. Enchanted haste increases a friendly target's AP by 1 for 4 rounds. When cast, Goblin's accuracy increased by 15% for 4 rounds. Alright. Spirits, imbue yourself with their power, consuming spirit. Alright. Do I want to just nuke a spirit? Or do I want to steal it? I think I'll just nuke it. Right. Isabel. Pistol shot that increases accuracy by 30%, increases chance by small amount for 1 shot. Alright, that could be useful. Integrated tactical computer marks weak points in an opponent's armor as well as target ability. Now reduces the target's armor by 1. That's useful. I think I'll go with that. Duncan. Lethal Force, gain ability, Mercy Kill. Duncan gains an assault rifle ability that has 99% chance to hit an enemy who has less than 25% HP remaining. Plus 2 damage, cooldown plus 2. So that's massively. Crowd control. 3 rounds to 2 rounds. I think I might go with the crowd. Stick with crowd control on him. Sure he can. Alright. Gaichi gains a ranged ability. A quick shuriken toss at 12 HP, 1 AP, max range 10, cooldown 2. Ability Spit. Gains a ranged ability, spitting infected saliva into the target's face, ignores all armor, damage 8. Additional 4 damage for 2 rounds, max range 10, cooldown 2. Can Gaichu throw ninja stars? Sure he can. Alright. Raptor's drone gains an auto shotgun ability, which does an additional 2 damage at the cost of minus 5 accuracy. Can hit adjacent targets at ranges of 6 or greater, uses 10 ammo, that's useful. Raptor's drone Crochet gains a mounted saw blade arm in the melee systems. This attack's critical chance is greatly boosted, cooldown 2. I don't know how much I don't really know how much damage this does. Yeah, I guess hitting multiple targets can be useful. Attacks. Alright. I think that's everybody. Alright. Confirm all. Alright, and I have an ass load of karma. I'll think about it. Might collect my money. Oh, you're new. Are you? A diminutive female orc regards you with a sharp, challenging look. The fierceness of her expression contrasts sharply with her sweet rounded face and neat bob. She flexes her cyber fists. She fires off a rapid-fire approach in a thick Filipino accent. Why are you standing like that? Didn't anybody teach you manners? She plants her fists on her leather-clad hips and juts her chin out at you. Relax. I didn't mean to stare. She gives you an unwavering sidelong gaze. You're a stranger on my turf. I expect people to be civil to one another. Sure, I apologize. This isn't your turf, it's a public area, and besides, these streets belong to my boss, Kindly Chang. The orc's eyes narrow. You're not good at making friends or fitting into new surroundings, are you? You got off on the wrong foot here. She blinks, her jaw clenches. Alright, I can tell you're a newcomer. I feel a little protective of my part of town. Luke looks you up and down, finally with a gruff nod, she introduces herself. I'm Rosario Ignacio, or to the members of my community, Cherry Pink. I specialize in transport missions and nanny services, and I occasionally Shadowrun for walking around money. I can also fry up a mean batch of lumpia, but you can't have any unless I like you. Alright. I'm babysitting right in the shadows. Well, I used to take care of the children of a whooshing bigwig up in the peak. Turned out she was siphoning corporate funds to support both a gambling addiction and an extravagant lifestyle. She got sloppy, and I stumbled across some pretty damning documents as I was tidying the house. I couldn't unsee them, much as I wished it, and I started to fear for my life. She was growing desperate, erratic, so I ran. Okay. You didn't run too far, why not leave Hong Kong? I couldn't go back to Manila because of those JIS scumbags, but there's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. I sought them out. What's happening in the Philippines that you can't go back? The Japanese imperial state happened. Supposedly they've been sent in charge there for decades. I was just a little girl when they sent their imperial marines in. They destroyed my old neighborhood. I don't remember the events, but I still dream of fire to this day. Supposedly in charge, you say? The Japanese ran up against resistance from forces that came to be known as the Huck nationalists and neo-anarchists, but the resistance ultimately gets its backing from a dragon, Masaru. While the struggle continues, the country can't heal. Never could deal with a dragon. She shrugs, well, I haven't. Personally, I just want to be home somewhere. People are interesting. Lork smiles, I agree. Perhaps you may deserve lumpy after all. No promises, though. How'd you get your cyberware? There's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. I reached out, and they all pitched in to set me up as a Shadowrunner. Now, wherever I land a good gig, I get most of my earnings. I give most of my earnings away, giving back to the community. Do you ever have regrets about leaving your old life behind? It's not like paying a debt. Yes, there's always somebody else asking for a handout, yet one day it might be me in need again. Who knows when my luck will turn, but I know my community will have my back. Mind if I ask you something else? Very well, go on. Let's talk about something else. Alright. Said you're a nanny. She nods enthusiastically, looking around you. Look around you. See these Shadowrunners and dealers of contraband at Johnson's? There's a fair number of who have kids, though they wouldn't shout it from the rooftops. It's usually too dangerous to keep family close. That's where I come in. Shadow nannies are a great idea. No more bringing my baby into combat situations. Which business do you pull in? Dark raises her chin proudly. Plenty. People will never stop having kids. The more necessary the dangerous the world gets, the more my services are necessary. I've taught children good manners, hygiene, and the proper use of firearms for over 20 years. Huh. She's pretty old. If she's been doing this for 20 years, she's pretty old for an orc. She's got to be it. You were in a survival situation, you were worried about hygiene. Well, hygiene, you know, you can get infections if you don't take care of your tusks, I guess. Survival situation. She looks at you with pity. You never had a good nanny. I could see it in your eyes. I could smell it too. Boom. Damn. You're the first in the pine forest. Nothing wrong with my eyes. I think I ripped them out anyway. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. I had them replaced. You lack a sense of humor. Derek shakes her head and mutters something about Shadowrunners nowadays. Run along. I have no time to talk to humorless people. What is that exactly? Filipino spring rolls, crispy and delicious and full of pork, or whatever pork flavored substitute is on sale. It's important to be frugal. To be that you like me. It suddenly become very important to me that you like me. Her mouth twitches upward. She gives you a sidelong glance. Then you must earn it. Everybody wants to be my friend because everybody wants lumpia. Only a handful deserve it. It's a bona fide Filipino nickname. Unless you want a mouthful of fish, you'll show respect. I should go. Be on your way. I actually don't think Cherry Pink's weird for a Shadowrunner name. Alright. Shadowland BBS. Post paid ad for sale. For new messages. Kelly Chang, little birds have been whispering to my ear about an urgent and high-paying run. Steel Arm Lou, a red pole, managed to get his hands on information concerning a prototype laser weapon in development by Ares Asia Holdings. For years, the Yellow Lotus and the Red Dragon have been locked in a Cold War. Despite this, we remain very matched. Neither of us can attack the other without being exposed to devastating reprisals. Lou wants to change this, and he has a plan. Rather than strike directly, Lou intends to aim external forces at the Red Dragon, specifically Knight Errant. He intends to frame a white paper fan named Golden Fong, making it appear that the Red Dragon have been bribing Ares researchers for classified data. 2 leading drone and energy weapons researchers have recently transferred from London to Hong Kong and are running the project. Doctors Taylor and Hardingham were respected in Europe, but in Hong Kong they remain unknown quantities. They're untrusted, and therefore are considered untrustworthy, perfect targets, in other words. We'll provide data that will make it look as if the researchers were contacted by Golden Fong and made quite a bit of money, but grow tired of the arrangement. Transfer the attached file to a data chip. The files are bundled with a worm program, which will auto-execute when inserted into the appropriate systems. Do not bring a decker, though one may be helpful. You'll need to plant data in the visitor records system, the camera systems in Hardingham and Taylor's lab, financial data to be transferred to Dr. Taylor's personal terminal. That in and of itself will not be enough to ensure knight-errant involvement, however. Planting the data is only the first part of your task. This is where a heavier touch will be required. You also need to steal the prototype laser weapon. There's a GPS tracking device attached to it. Liu will plant it deep in Red Dragon territory. The apparent theft of a prototype weapon by a disgruntled Triad member should convince Ares to dispatch overwhelming force against the Red Dragon, dealing from them a vicious blow. As a note, Liu does not care what becomes of the laser weapons. If you wish to sell it for or keep it, feel free. I've also attached a map of your extraction route from the building. During the facility's expansion in 2052, Ares Asia was forced to extend their foundations deeper into the island. They drove piles to the former site of the central MTR station, which partially collapsed during the Dalu Bay earthquake of 2044. Practically, this means you can exit through the basement directly onto the new MTR line through Central with any luck. You can be gone without anyone knowing how. Unfortunately, this route is heavily alarmed, so you'll be forced to go in the front door. If you can con the front desk, you should have no problem. The facility is both an office and a residence, so strange people coming and going at odd hours is not unusual. If you're not up to fast talk, however, be prepared to shoot your way in. Liu does not care if you are loud or quiet, but a word of caution. You came all this way via the loose lips of one of the research teams. Other fixers know of this job and move fast, and you are guaranteed success. But there are definitely other Shadowrunners with an eye on your prize. Take the run. From Kylie Chang to Shik, subject Ari. Very well. Steel Arm Liu sends his regards and bids you good fortune and plentiful ammunition. The dramatic git. Don't die, Shik. Our arrangement has been very profitable so far, and I hate to lose that. 200 messages. Mail, restaurant job. Kylie Chang to Shik. Subject restaurant job. One of the things I've learned over the years is that even the rich and powerful have annoyances, thorns in their side, if you will. No one is without troubles. The rich just have different ways of solving them. The client for this run has grown tired of one particular thorn in his side. Shung Sing Rooster Lo. Lo is a red pole for one of the smaller triads here in Hong Kong. The 289s, or the Easy Money Gang, if you prefer. Despite the 289's small stature, Lo's illegal activities have managed to damage the client's profits. Mr. Johnson would like to help him show Lo the error of his ways. Lo takes an evening every few months to dine at the Shangri-La restaurant in Aberdeen. If you aren't aware, the Shangri-La is an elite establishment serving primarily corporate clientele from Wuxing Incorporated. Because of this, it's not unusual for diners to bring bodyguards or assistants with them. In Lo's case, he brings a particularly brutish enforcer known as the Talon, and undoubtedly feels well protected. You are going to prove just how wrong he is in this regard. You are to kidnap Rooster Lo. So long as he is alive and is in relatively good health, all options are on the table. While keeping the run quiet would make things easier for Mr. Johnson, no one will shed too many tears over a few dead triad thugs. The client has arranged to exit via boat, so as long as you can get Lo from the exterior to the restaurant's dock, the client will handle everything else. Despite being a red pole, Lo is a tactician, not a fighter. Don't expect him to put up much of a fight. The Talon, on the other hand, is as nasty as they come. Be careful about how you confront them, or things may go very badly. Take the run. From Kylie Chang to Shik. I've let the client know you've accepted the job. By the time you arrive at Shangri-La, the boat to get you out will be waiting. One more message. Vid, job offer from Isabel. Recording of Isabel pops onto the screen. She stares into the camera, her eyes full of intensity. If you're watching this, you decide to listen to my job offer. That's a good thing. I wasn't convinced that you would. Our target is a local Decker, a former Wampoan. In the Matrix, his handle is Rhombus. He has the software that we need. Unfortunately, he's unassailable from the Matrix, and nobody knows where he lives in meat space, but know where he's going to be. There's an event coming up that Rhombus can't afford to miss. He might already be on his way there. As you're reading this message, Deckers from all over Asia, White Hat and Black Hat alike, are converging on the Harbor Spires Hotel. This year, Harbor Spires is hosting DeckCon, Hong Kong's largest annual decking convention. Rhombus is going to be there, and that gives us an opportunity. We're going to hit the convention and find him in meat space and get the software away from him. We're going to do it quickly. Enclosed, you will find a copy of the plan that I've worked out for the run, presented in bullet point format. Everything should be fairly straightforward. Isabel's image winks off the screen, replaced by a blinking cursor. As you watch, the screen begins to fill with lines of simple instructions. I'll provide you with one other runner for your choice, with visitor passes for the convention. I will proceed ahead of you using my guest badge. I will hide in the women's lavatory on the first floor. You will enter via the kitchen and procure me a uniform from the catering staff. Please be sure that the uniform is size 4. We will rendezvous. I will change into the uniform, and using it, I will infiltrate the administrative wing on the 6th floor. You will proceed into the convention hall and await further instructions. Using the admin computer, I will identify Rhombus via his guest registration form. Once I have done this, I will alert you via comlink. I will upgrade your badge to VIP status, granting you access to the VIP wing of the hotel. You will tell Rhombus that he has been granted VIP status and offer to escort him to a complimentary hotel room. You will escort him to a room that I designed and hold him there. I will jack out of the Matrix and make my way from the admin wing to your room. We will intimidate Rhombus and beat the tar out of him until he gives us the software. We will tie and gag Rhombus and stuff him into a storage closet. We will not be gentle. It's okay if he starts crying, actually piss. Please prioritize this. I want to see tears. Software in tow. We will make our escape. The glowing screen fades and Isabel winks back onto the screen. See, it's a simple plan, just like I said. We should be able to get through it without firing a shot. So will you do it? Will you help me get to the software I need? Take the run. Pre-recorded footage of Isabel winks off the screen. A real-time feed of the Matrix avatar replaces it. Excellent. I knew that I could count on you. So up, Schick. This is going to be fun. You have 0 unread messages. In the jobs directory. View all pending jobs. Borrow a friend, alright. Right. For the museum run, you submit job is finished and await the response. A few minutes later, a message pops onto the screen. From Mr. Schick, well done. I've adjusted the payment you're owed. I trust that you'll keep quiet about exactly was liberated from Liu's little museum. I'll come collect the books from Kindly Chang shortly. Mr. Drake. Alright. Alright. With you, something related to the Ares run that you've recently accepted. You may recall a story about my former colleagues, Taylor and Hardingham, the ones who stole my research. They work at that facility. If the auto repair circuits that they took from me still exist, they are there. I need you to bring me on the run to retrieve them. Of course, you'll be the first man on the train when we head out. Thank you, my friend. I will not regret this decision. I guarantee it. Box of mementos. Personal effects is overflowing with a collection of souvenirs, mementos, and knickknacks. There is no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Laying atop the box are a collection of antique Japanese coins inside an overturned wooden mask and a black lacquered box with gold inlay. Gaiju cocks his head, sniffing the air in your direction. I see you have found my box of personal effects. Please feel free to examine whatever you like within it. Just take care to put them back when you are done. I do not own much, but the things I keep are very precious to me. They're all that remains of my former life. Then the wooden mask. The wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted a pale white, and the surface is almost as smooth as porcelain. Although it lacks the sheen of lacquer, The face's traits are delicate, almost feminine. The feature, lifted eyebrows, bright red lips, and delicately carved teeth. The teeth have been stained a deep black, barely visible past the slightly parted lips. The expression, while kindly, is ambiguous and uncanny. Viewed from above, the expression is one of calm contentment. Shifting the mask to view it in a downward angle causes expression to seem melancholy, almost pained. What's this wooden mask, Gaichu? It's a mask from the historical no play Ikuta Atsumori. The face is that of a young samurai, Taira no Atsumori. Gaichu faces your direction, gesturing toward the mask. I had a collection of a dozen or so no masks when I was younger. That is the last remaining one, and my personal favorite. Why is it your favorite? Gaichu smiles, expression distant, a measure of civic pride, I suppose, and I like the story. Taira no Atsumori died at the Battle of Ichinotani, just outside Kobe. The play takes place primarily at Ikuta Shrine, which is located in downtown Kobe. In old cities in Japan, especially in Keihanshin, I have always felt that there is a sense of history wherever one looks. The skyline may have skyscrapers and delivery drones, but the foundations are laid on the bones of the dead. Gaichu shrugs, folding his arms across his chest. I think it is important to remember that sacrifices enjoy sorrows and glories. Gaichu laughs, suddenly shaking his head. This is why sometimes I worry that I am a sentimentalist at heart. There's a play. A young man travels with the priest who raised him to Ikuta Shrine to commune with the spirit of his father, Taira no Atsumori. The young man's father died at the Battle of Ichinotani when the son was only a baby, and he wishes to know who his father was. The pair stays the night in a small hut. In the night, the hermit in the hut explains that he is the ghost of Atsumori. Atsumori has been granted a brief reprieve from his time in the afterlife to meet his son. During the night, they speak of the battle in which Atsumori was killed, the history of the Taira family, and their philosophy. Atsumori fades into darkness as he finishes the tale of the Taira's downfall, just as the family itself faded into obscurity. So think we yet owe that we might change this fragile dream of joy into the lasting love of waking life, says Atsumori. Before fading, it is a tale of sorrow, love, and the burden of war upon the dead and living alike. The price one pays for war is not always in one's own blood alone, but in the shattering of one's own family. I feel like I know the difference, but I can use a refresher. What's the difference between a normal play and no? No actors wear those masks to cover their faces. The angle they hold themselves at changes the expression on the mask. So the acting is highly rigid and controlled. The entire performance is highly ritualized. There is no measure of improvisation allowed, only refinement of the prescribed form. Gaichu folds his arms over his chest, dipping his chin in thought. The words are sung like in Western opera and accompanied by a set of musicians known as Hayashi. The Hayashi keeps time with several drums, a flute, and a chorus in the Greek theatrical sense, I mean. Unfortunately, no is unpopular art in modern times. I expect this is because all the plays are conducted in classical Japanese, which is not comprehensible to the general public. I've heard that the creators of No, a father and son in the 14th century, took inspiration from magical rituals at Shinto shrines. It is said that by placing masks upon their face, the actors become possessed by the spirit of the character they play. There are worse fates, I think, than to embody the spirit of a tragic warrior like Atsumori. Put the mask back in the box. Examine the lacquered box. The box is a deep, glossy black cube. The edges and corners are rounded rather than sharp, and the gold flake inlay across the surface glitters even in the dim lighting of the room. Sliding the top off, the interior contents are revealed. A calligraphy set, complete with inkstone and block, brushes, and paper. Gaichu wrinkles his nose, expression of distaste. Oh, that thing. It's a beautiful set, but it is a shame that I am unable to make use of it. Because you're blind. Gaichu snorts derisively, stifling laughter. No, my handwriting has always been absolutely terrible. Whatever fanciful stories you may have heard of being able to tell a swordsman's ability by his handwriting, I assure you that they are wrong. Probably it doesn't help that he has claws. The set was a gift from a professor of Japanese literature. He appreciated my interest in the classics, the tale of the Heike, the tale of Genji, the collective of 10,000 leaves, etc. I think he wished to encourage me to cultivate non-martial interests. Gaichu smiles crookedly and shrugs. I appreciated the gesture, but my attempts at fine calligraphy mostly resemble excited chickens prancing over paper, their feet soaked in ink. Well, you gotta practice, man. Practice, practice, practice. Leave the box alone. Alright. Oh, again, how may I help you? Any thoughts about that last run? A curious affair. I wish we had more time to study the nature of the mummies we found in the catacombs, as I am unaware of any spirit or paranormal phenomenon which could explain their existence. Bound spirits, a strain of HMHVV, perhaps something else entirely. Their nature is unclear to me. I should very much like to know how the mummy's trinket came to be. It may well be that we have discovered a new form of immortality or manner of spiritual being to store one's essence in an object. What a concept. I said, yep, what a concept. Could use that right now. Such an opportunity is one that should be studied in depth. I don't know. There's prices to pay for immortality. Sometimes shitty prices. Is there anything else I can do for you? I feel like we've gone over the whole being a ghoul thing. It's like rubbing an open wound, I guess. See you later, Gaichu. Please come by whenever you like. Stash. Okay. Does not stack nor affect AoE abilities. The next closest ally will be affected. Last 3 rounds. I'm gonna talk to Duncan. I'm gonna exercise a bit. Ada helps me clear my head. Come back later and we'll talk. Alright. Saw you accept my offer. That was the right choice. You'll see. I'm ready to make a run on the deckcon whenever you are. Any thoughts about that last run? Nope, sorry. Jacking the octopus as I relax after a long day of work. Some people go to sports bars or strip clubs. I do this. I really don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. Yeah, that's what you feel? It is, so if you wouldn't mind changing the subject. By any time. Gobbet looks up from her hot plate at the sound of your approach. A smile increases her face. She raises her eyebrows and gestures at the cabin around you. You know, the Defiance has really been shaping up over the past few days. With all the work they've been putting into her, she'll start to feel like a real home. Anyway, enough about the boat. She puts her hands on her hips, sending madness and scurrying. Ready for the next lesson, or did you just want to chat? Thoughts about that last run? She wasn't there, was she? You didn't bring me on lessons, and I don't have much to say, alright? Next lesson. Yeah, that's good. I was hoping that you'd want to keep it going with this. It's good for you, and I'm kind of enjoying it too. Gobbet runs a hand through the knotted ropes of her hair, a contemplative look on her face. A moment later, she turns her attention back to you. Alright, this is going to be another long story, so I'm thinking we should take it in chunks. If you've got any questions, you can ask them along the way. And if you need to take a break, we can come back to it. Sound good? Dude, it's fine by me. Don't ask, tell you. Good. So last time I told you that event about that brought an end to my illustrious career as a subcontractor. This time I'm going to tell you about a run that I went on with my regular team. Nightjar's team, you mean? No, this was long before I hooked up with them. Iz was still learning to deck back then. She was good for her age, but she wasn't ready for prime time. And it'd be another couple of years before I'd meet Nightjar or Auntie Chang. You don't know anyone from the group that I'm talking about. They're all gone now anyway. Had a rough career, haven't you? Yeah, I guess that I have, but I'm still alive. That's something. Puts me ahead of a lot of other runners I've known. The truth of the matter is, as runners, dying on the job is an occupational hazard. We're disposable assets. It shouldn't come as a surprise when we get used up and tossed away. It's the same way in the Barrens here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah, you know how it is. People die and it's sad, but there's no sense in moping about it. Meet this group of yours. Through mutual friends, we actually all lived together before we decided to start running as a team. There was this floating squatters commune out in Hung Hom Bay. It's probably still out there, actually. I haven't been back in a long time, but I spent a few years living on the thing, and the rest of the team lived there with me. Squatters commune. She nods, yep, we called it the sinking ship. It was like an enormous raft, all bolted together from old shipping containers. It was the most comfortable place I've ever lived, but the price was right and the company was good. Tell me about the team that you were running with. Sure, she extends a hand so that she can count off the teammates on her fingers. Amanda scurries down her sleeve and perches on her forearm. Our muscle was a Hawaiian Jew with poor impulse control, big round guy with the lumberjack arms and ringlets in his hair. He called himself Hono. I guess that he loved turtles. I don't know, street names are weird. We had a tech specialist, Egret. She was tall, gawky, dyed her hair bone white. She had a drone named Arlo that followed her around like a lost puppy. She's kind of a jack of all trades, but she could get the job done, fun at parties too. Our de facto team leader was a guy named Sui. He was a wiry troll, if you can imagine that. Probably about 2% body fat, all skin and bones. Walked with a hunch to make himself look smaller. He was a shaman, followed rat like me. Sounds like an interesting group of people. It was, but then everyone I've worked with has been interesting in his or her own way. As a rule, shadowrunning isn't a profession that attracts boring people. Alright. Alright, moving on. So one day, Tsui brought us a ship. He'd met a client in a Victoria Harbor bar, a rich Eastern Tiger exec. The guy wanted us to seal something for him, a shiny object. She raises her hands. I know it's stupid, right? But that was how the Johnsons described it to us. The shiny object. That was what he wanted us to get. He never gave it any other name. Seriously, a rat shaman hired to steal a shiny object? Yeah, you can see how the game would be hard for us to resist. Do rats actually like shiny objects? I've never seen anything that statistically suggests that they do. Anyway, the client told us what to look for. He described it as a chunk of red jade about the size and shape of an ostrich egg, with a mere polished surface and gold wire inlays. He said that it'd have a paper charms hanging off it, food talismans, Taoist sorcery stuff. We weren't supposed to touch those. Fair enough. The client also told us about the shiny object's then owner, an old hedge wizard turned entrepreneur named Kong Shuiyan. A ball from a wizard, essentially. When you boil it down like that, it sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? She shrugs, but hey, that's the world we live in, and like I said, Shuiyan wasn't just a wizard, he was an entrepreneur, a business wizard. The guy had resources. From what we were told, the old man was keeping the shiny object in one of his warehouses. He had a bunch of them. He built himself a nice little empire selling magical paraphernalia through a puppet vendors in the Yuamatai night market. Supposedly a good fifth of the stalls in that place were on Shui Yan's payroll. Alright. Pickled reagents in mason jars, hermetic scrolls and charms, relics looted from Buddhist temples, crates of old Balinese Rangda masks, and fist-sized stones from a great dragon's kidney. Shui Yan sold it all. How he got his hands on it in the first place is anyone's guess. You get the picture. Good, thought you might recross the warehouse for a couple nights before the run, and we were pretty sure that Shui Yan was keeping our payday in the vault area in the very back of the building, but the old man had enough triad protection that we'd have to be sneaky to get there. Sui was the one who came up with the plan. We'd split up outside and enter the warehouse in 2 teams. Team A would create a diversion. Team B would hit the vault while security was looking the other way. We'd grab our payday, regroup, and get the hell out of there. In my experience, splitting the group is almost always more trouble than it's worth. I'd agree with you if we were going in expecting a straight fight, but as a Shadowrunner, you shouldn't almost never want to get into one of those. When you're on a job, you're always got to be outnumbered and outgunned. Going quiet is inherently safer than going loud, and if splitting the group is what it takes to do that, she shrugs. Anyway, Team A, Honu and Egret circled around to the loading dock just like we'd planned. Sui and I walked by the service entrance. We didn't have to wait long. A couple of minutes in, we heard this ungodly crash, then another and another. As it turns out, Egret had rigged into Shui Yan's network of automated forklifts. She had 6 of them running amok in the loading dock, chasing down workers and crashing themselves into anything marked fragile. Subtle. It wasn't supposed to be subtle. She was making a distraction, remember? Honestly, Seattle, you need to start paying attention. Alright. Anyway, Egret's distraction did what it was supposed to do as Sui and I watched. Most of the Triad guys at the surface entrance abandoned their posts and went hauling off toward the loading dock. A couple guys with baseball bats stayed back, but we handled them easily enough. We slipped inside and made a beeline for the back of the warehouse where the shiny object was supposed to be. Did you find it there? I guess something went wrong. No, actually it was there, just like we thought it'd be. The door was open and everything. The shiny object was sitting there in a teak cradle, gleaming with reflected light, just like the client had said. It had a ring of Taoist talismans hanging off of it like a grass skirt, the paper all crinkled with age. We didn't waste any time. I reached in and grabbed the thing. It felt strange through my gloves. The jade sort of pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. That sounds ominous. Yeah, tell me about it. I wanted to drop the thing, but it was our payday, so I slipped it into my satchel instead. I couldn't get the flap closed quickly enough. The package being secured, Sui and I turned to hightail it out of there, and then things went to shit. So again, predictable. No, not the shiny object. Old man Shui Yan. He was standing there right in front of us, larger than life. I'm guessing that was when he heard the commotion in the loading dock. He'd come running, well, waddling to make sure that his treasure was safe. It turns out it wasn't because I'd already stolen the thing. He looked displeased. What'd you do? What do you think we did? We had our backs to the wall. We lit the old bastard up. Oh. I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was kind of a... I mean, I figured if he was a mage... I guess, you know, they know he's a mage, so they can probably just shoot him. It was pretty epic, truth be told. Spirits were summoned, spells were discharged, the vault door sealed within Shui Yan like something out of a movie. At one point, the old man leapt onto Tsui's back and tried to bite his ear off. I won't bore you with a play-by-play of how the fight went down. In the end, we'd crushed him. Unfortunately, the fighting had caused some collateral damage. At some point during our showdown with Shui Yan, the control panel for the vault door must have eaten an arc of lightning. The blast of a powerball. It was toast, all black and melted, and neither of us could fix it. So you're trapped in the vault. Yeah, that's about the size of it, and it was only a matter of time before the old man's remaining security guys found us in there. There was still one way out, a ventilation duct so high in the rafters, but it was too small for Tsui to fit through. He was a troll after all. I had the shiny object, but if I left Tsui there and security got to him, well, you do the math. So here's the conundrum. I've got our pay data in my satchel, the team is split, it's inevitable that more Triad 49ers are going to find us, but we don't know when or how many. Egret and Honu are holding their own in the loading dock for now. I can stay with Tsui to help fight off the inevitable wave of Triad 49ers, but we'll be badly outmatched, like badly. The odds of survival won't look good for either of us. If Egret were pinned down in the loading dock, she could probably get the vault door open, but in order to get her to her, I'll have to leave Tsui alone in the vault. If Shui Yuan's reinforcements find Tsui before I get back with Egret, well, she uses her thumb to draw a line across her neck. So that's the scenario, Sinel. Not a lot to work with, I know. Now tell me, what should I do? Alright. Take the gamble and go for Egret. It's the plan with the best chance of success. Could have done that, I guess. It might have worked. Of course, it could have gotten Tsui gunned down in a vault too, but in retrospect, that would have been a huge loss. That's kind of fucking cold, dude. I mean, that's fucking cold. I mean, it's more like he couldn't have any way of escaping without getting somebody out to help, so, you know, he didn't have much. I mean, he essentially was risking getting shot one way or another. In a way, that wasn't what I did. I saw what I could do to save. I saw what I thought could be a way to save the day, so I went ahead and took it. I fished this shiny object out of my bag. I still remember how the Taoist talismans ringed the thing crinkled in my hands. I remember shrugging, say, the hell with it. I put the thing in Tsui's bare hands and told him to go nuts. It was almost like Tsui had been waiting for me to pass him the thing. He seemed eager to take it. He hugged that chunk of rock in his chest like a newborn baby. Colors swam in the stone, and something changed in his eyes. Then old man Shui's 49ers breached the door, and Tsui unleashed hell. She paused, frowning, stops scratching and falling. She uses the hand to rub her eyes. Finally, she turns back to you. A sour look pinches her features. What went down in that room? Well, I've only seen that kind of carnage a couple of times in my life, and I've been running the shadows for years. Those Triad men were torn to scraps by the end of it. Don't think I'll ever forget the sounds that they made. She clears her throat. I spent most of the night huddled up in the corner for my own safety. What Tsui let loose from the stone didn't seem terribly interested in discriminating between friend and foe. What do you mean by that? Did he summon hostile spirits or something? Something like that. Truth be told, I don't know what they were. Like I said, I was hiding, but he couldn't have done it without the shiny object, not in a million years. Wherever they were, the rock brought them here. So what happened then? She shrugs. We waited for things to calm down in the vault, and for the things to go slithering away. I think that Tsui had some limited control over them, which is why they didn't eat us. After they were gone, Tsui gave me the shiny object back. I put it in my satchel, and we bailed. We collected the others on the way out. They were blissfully ignorant of what had happened on the other side of the warehouse, and I didn't see a reason to change that. We hightailed it back to the docks and caught the first boat back to the sinking ship. Mission accomplished. Okay. So something bad's going to happen in the aftermath. Tsui probably tried to steal the thing or something. Gobbet looks away, again stares off into space. From what I'm told, people still avoid Shui-Yan's warehouse like the plague. It's supposed to be haunted, even to this day. People who set foot in the building keep turning up dead. Pretty sure I am one of the only living people who knows why. Abruptly, her body language changes. Anyway, that's it. Let us know if you got any questions. Go ahead. Right. There was, when I started telling it, I thought I was going to tell you to be comfortable with breaking the rules. I don't think I'm going to say that now, though I'm not feeling it anymore. You know, this run alive. They didn't stay that way for long, but let's leave that for next time, huh? I don't want to get into it just now. About the sinking ship, yeah, sure, the story's over, so we can get into it. I moved on to the sinking ship when I was just a kid. I think that I was 12, maybe 13 years old at the time. In the beginning, I was just me and a couple of rat shaman friends. Cadmus and Malvina. They were older, but they were always cool to me. All the rat shamans hang out together? Is it typical for a group of rat shamans to congregate like that? No, terribly no. I mean, we have lodges, same as... Not terribly no. I mean, we have lodges, same as any other group of shamans. You can usually find a few of us hanging out in those. I guess that there was just something special about our little group, or maybe about the sinking ship. We liked it, we felt at home in there. Didn't hurt that the sinking ship was well stocked and provisioned when we found it either. And we don't look at me. Sorry, that was a call from my mom. I had to pick that. Didn't hurt that the sinking ship was well stocked and provisioned with, we found it either. And don't look at me like that, it was abandoned when we took it. Abandoned. There was a team of Shadowrunners that had lived on the thing before us, but they bid it on a job. Cad and Mai heard the knock of opportunity. They claimed the raft for Rat in record time. Taking over the sinking ship wasn't an easy job, mind you. The previous owners had installed traps and automated defenses all over the raft. Cad had his hands full with those for a month. What kind of traps are we talking about? She shrugs. The usual stuff, explosives, pop turrets, that kind of thing. Cad and his sister Yasmin took care of most of it without too much trouble. The biggest problems were the scuttling charges. The runners who built the raft had installed these explosives all along the perimeter that had ripped the bottom of the thing if it were ever seized by the police. Explosives that were tricky to deal with. Cad was able to disarm them, but he had to leave them where they were. It was always just slightly uncomfortable, knowing that I was sleeping on top of a couple 100 pounds of dormant explosives. Yeah, I can't blame you there. She shrugs. Hey, like I said, it was free. There weren't really even any rules to follow, which suited me fine. Malvina was sort of the leader of our little nest, but we never really listened to her. She was always trying to play the mom card, but instill a sense of responsibility into us. It was cute. She did have a propensity for getting things done, though. I have to give her that. Fucking failing at reading. Anyway, after a few months, other people started showing up. Squatters, homeless people, Shadowrunners, and assorted crazies. As long as they stayed cool with us, we were cool to them. Eventually it became a community. Imagine that. Think you wound up squatting on the Defiance because of your time on the sinking ship? I don't know, maybe. Never really thought about it before, but yeah, maybe. The corner of her mouth curls upward. I guess that I'm a water rat now. Take a break and come back to this later. Of course, like I said, it's a long story. So, was there something else you'd want to talk about? That's all for now, Gava. Talk to you later. Yeah, hey Seattle, I'm sorry that this lesson wound up getting a little unfocused at the end. I'm not really sure what came over me. It's cool, don't worry about it. Well, I still feel bad about it, so look, I'll make you a deal. Your next lesson will definitely be on point, and I'll tell you what it's about up front. No more question and answer sessions. How does that sound? Bye bye, me Gavit. Catch you next time. She waves. Next time. How much money do I have? Not a whole lot. Parlor of 5 Phases. I don't remember this. Crafty shoe. A mild scent, sweet and slightly herbal, is the first thing you notice upon entering the old shop. Its quarters are crammed, made smaller by display cases and furniture packed inside. The walls are lined with bookshelves, and the tables and chairs are stacked with old tomes. A few titles jump out at you: Lucid Dreaming, an exploration of the inner self, Dream Logic, Nocturnal Visitations. Overall, the place feels lived in, if disorganized, not quite cluttered, but close. Milling at the front of the store is the shopkeeper, lost in a book of her own. She's tall for a human, probably close to 2 meters in height. Her physique is typically bookworm, not overweight, but you can't see any muscular definition either. A wraparound tattoo covers her upper arms and shoulders, but from where you're standing, you can't quite make it out. She fidgets. Gradually, her eyes rise from her book and lock onto you. Welcome, don't believe I've seen you before. Name's Crafty. Schick, nice to meet you. She shakes her hand. Her grip is surprisingly firm. So, Schick, what can I do for you? I've got spells, alchemical reagents, foci, whatever you want. Really might have to do some digging to find it, but if it's magical, it's around here somewhere. I think everybody's had vivid dreams, so I'm asking, like, is this your store, or do you just work here? It's mine. I inherited it from my mom. As you can see, she generously left me all her research journals. Her words are thick with sarcasm. Mom was never a big cleaner, but neither am I. My mom used to keep spirits around that helped her manage the place. They're not here anymore, but sometimes I swear my books aren't where I last placed them. Who knows, maybe they pop by for visits. I just wish they'd clean while they are here. What makes this store so special? What's with the name of the store? It's a cultural thing. The 5 phrases represent wood, earth, water, fire, and metal. Some people believe they're the basis of how things function and interact in this world. You'll find it practiced all throughout China. It disciplines ranging from farming to science, even music. The theory isn't common among younger generations, but it has its uses. My mother was strongly influenced by it. In fact, our sign out in front is a visual representation of the cycle of 5 phases. It was an inspiration to her. She raises a shoulder and a half shrug. I just think it looks neat. What makes this store so special? It's old, respectable, built over a dragon line. She slightly tilts her head to the side. We also carry texts unavailable anywhere else, but I guess for me, I'm drawn to this place by the nostalgia. How do you like working here? It's a job, can't complain. I have a question about something else. Dreams lately? Of course she is. Her face is unreal, her eyes lock onto you. As a matter of fact, I have, Schick. But we all get the occasional vivid dream, nothing special there. Fishes the books on the table. Really? Then why are you reading up on them? She flicks her wrist dismissively. Sure, it's a little weird that we're having them, but these types of dreams are common in the walled city. Nothing to get worked up about, probably. Strange. I met someone the other day who said that too. She nods. Anyone who's familiar with the walled city would know that, but most people don't go out of their way to find out. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomenon within. So I grew up with stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. Common then. She nods. Common as the cold. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomenon within it. So I grew up within stories about the city. Stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams about being one of them. I've never been inside the walled city myself, but Mom went in pretty regularly and experienced the dreams. Interesting person. She sighed, let her mouth dip into a shallow frown. Sure, she was interesting, but not praiseworthy. About the Walled City. Very little, just that my mother spent most of her time in there, and she shifts her weight, leans onto the counter. Well, it messed her up. Is there something specific you want to know about? Moving to the Walled City. No, I'm not. It's a shit show. People who live there. Walled City residents tend to fall into two groups, those who are threats and those who are threatened. You're either hunting or hiding. Life is harsh. Most people never get out. There's a whole library here, just so happens to be the foremost location for Walled City texts. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. Get the feeling that your relationship with your mother was unusual. Alright. Dr. Freud here, apparently. You better believe it, she was obsessed with the Walled City. Put it before everyone in her life. Mom ate, slept, and breathed that city. There's something fueling her obsession. Crafty shifts her gaze to a stack of books on a nearby table. Yeah, actually, Mom was convinced that something was wrong with the place, that it was cursed. In some way, polluted with unnaturally bad chi. She visited the city under the protection of the Yellow Lotus and spent hours, sometimes days, studying it. Crafty tears her eyes away from the books and returns her gaze to you. Mom was consumed by her research. Mom sounds like an accomplished woman. She sure tried. Mom thought she could find a way to purify the place and to exorcise its demons. Her obsession with the Walled City grew, and she devoted more and more of her life to breaking its curse. Wish I could say she fell off the radar, but really the rest of the world fell off of hers. Look on the bright side, at least you had a mother. I can't even remember mine. She looks stricken. Are you for real, shit? For real, shit, chick. Yeah, maybe you should. Yeah, it was difficult, but I obviously came out fine. Well, fine-ish. I still argue that not having a mother is better than having a worthless mother, but these things affect us all differently. Maybe I am lucky I had one growing up. Either way, I'm sorry you didn't. Don't worry about it. I guess we share something in that respect. A lack of active mothers in our lives. She nods grimly. What a bleak way to bond. Why don't we change the subject before this turns into a soap opera moment? Sounds to me like you don't believe in your mother's research. You can see Crafty's eyes studying you. She exhales through her nose, and it seems as if she's considering something. I know we've just met, Schick, but you have a generous ear. I don't mind discussing my mother with you as long as we keep the details between us. Mother's research was stupid. It just plain stupid. She wasn't stupid herself, no. Mom was very bright, but her obsession was downright unhealthy. Anyone could see that. The Walled City is a toxic place, home to dark spirits and astral influence, but Mom believed in a singular curse at the heart of the place. How did you two fall out? When you say toxic, what do you mean? My mother failed to change the Walled City, and the time she spent inside there changed her. She grew sickly and became moody, irritable. She suffered from night terrors the rest of her life. After he languidly sweeps a small clump of dust off a nearby book. You decline like that. She points a finger at you. It wasn't just that. The breaking point for me was her ridiculous obsession. I refused to indulge her, and it drove a wedge between us. Neither of us were willing to relent. A small, bitter laugh escapes her throat. I guess we had that in common, stubborn till the end. So after Mom died, I turned my back on her work and left the Walled City and its people to themselves. It's a toxic site beyond rehabilitation. I do my best to ignore it. I guess each their own. Her composure breaks for a second, and you can see Crafty shift nervously behind the counter. At least I've tried. And now that these dreams, these nightmares are leaking out of the Walled City, I wonder if I can still ignore it. You always have a choice. We always have a choice. You're right, but not everyone's choices are weighted evenly. I just don't think I can turn a blind eye to what's happening here. She loosely gestures to the bookshelves all over the shop. I have my mother's journals. I have the means to try and help. It's sure to dredge up bad memories, but if it'll help my friends, maybe it'd be worth it. I don't know. I guess I have a lot to think about. She crosses her arms and wraps her fingers against her skin. Anyway, thanks for lending me that ear of yours. About the dreams, can I ask you something? She nods, go ahead. What do you think? Why do you think they're affecting people outside the walled city? It's definitely strange. Until now, I always thought the dreams were nonsense, that my mother just had night terrors because of her madness. She props her chin up with her right hand. But now it's really happening, and not just to me, to others around Hayoi. Those same psychic forces that drove Mom insane are edging into our subconscious. Lately, I've been wondering if there might have been something to her ravings. Maybe I've been skeptical for so long, and it feels almost blasphemous to consider it. Maybe the walled city's curse is real. She rubs her hand down her face, obviously frustrated. I just don't know. That's true, but my mother's notes are scattered all over the shop. Most of her research is scrawled in the margins of the books that you see on the shelves in piles and stacks all over. The clues we need to figure this thing out could be in any one of those volumes, and there are thousands of them. Alright, I seem to be pushing her, like, no matter what I do, I'm pushing her in one direction. She sighs, straightens up. Yeah, I know what I have to do, it's just damn, look at them all. She tiredly looks down at the book she was reading earlier. Guess I won't be finishing this one anytime soon. Alright, Chick, I'm going to get started now. But it'll take time. The House of Five Phases is jammed from floor to ceiling with books, and any one of them could hold valuable information. Check in once in a while, and I'll share my findings with you. You're doing the right thing. I'll do what I can, too. Thanks, I appreciate that. I like to see your wares. Yeah, I can't use any of these. I mean, basically, Gobbet's the only one who could. Initiate level blood magic. Damn. If I ever replay this, I might just go for a mage. Mind wipe. I wanted to be a Street Sam because of the, I haven't done one yet in the other two games. And they added the cyber weapons, but there's a lot of shit here. Really upgraded everything. Imbued Hermetic Fetish. This fetish grants a benefit one. Spirit Fetish. Shamanic Salve. Sound. Powerbolt, Acid Bolt. Thanks, Crafty. All right. Right. Except from what appears to be a housework drone on the operating table. Scrub up and get me the defibrillator paddle. Shick, I'm installing some leaders, headers on this guy's liver, and now we're going to shock him back to life. There's no laugh for this thing. Yeah, banged up pretty bad. Why haven't you sold some bionic limbs? Ambrose taps his temple with one of his only remaining fingers because I'm already chromed to the gills. Yeah, dude, overload him and kill him. I don't look at, but I've got a full suite, quad jacks, no soft, radio, skill wire, tactical computer, a whole bunch of riggerware. He lifts his dirty t-shirt, revealing a pair of tubes emerging from his side, running down to the wheelchair. Check it out, I've got an artificial liver in my chair. I want to keep my last essence. I've come to like my humanity, but I don't want to turn into one of the Walking Dead. The Walking Dead? I'm getting Cyborg installed, and I don't understand. Walking Dead? Oh, come on, you know the names, right? The Walking Dead, Toasters, Chromouts. I don't want to be one of those lug wrenches who cyber themselves to within an inch of their lives and stop feeling normal emotions. There are worse things than feeling nothing. Truth, I'm close to the line, though. I don't want to feel nothing, at least not yet. I mean, you could just... Do you really want that other shit? I mean, I guess you need the riggerware, but... I mean, could you just take the other shit out? Your brother scratches himself ostentatiously with a robotic arm. Listen... I like to talk about my chrome more than the next guy, but not right now. Besides, it's kind of a personal subject. You looking for something today? Show me your services. Sure thing. Tune up our spare parts. Cyberware. Shiawase magnet arm. Passive. When incoming grenades target the user, they are automatically flung back to their source. That's fun. One to all physical attributes, that's great. I planned on getting that, and I have enough money for it. Quickness. Wired reflexes. Jolt alert. Throwing weapons. I already have that. knowledge. Induction Jadak. Will automatically dodge. That could keep me alive. Laser designator. Don't have rain. One. Alright, Cyborg House as a yes. Go back to the garage soon, alright? Physical attributes. +1 to strength already. Quickness. Strength. I think I've dicked around enough. Alright, travel to Wuxing. That's the first thing I did. Alright. Alright. The subway flies over the tracks toward Aberdeen. Monsoon humidity clings to your skin, and it's followed you from Haoi. Perhaps it simply sunk this far into the earth, penetrating stone and machine, rousing the acrid smells of Hong Kong's underground in its wake. You've been handed a promising job, a geomantic sabotage, with a single objective: disrupt the flow of Wuxing Qi to destabilize the corporation. Your client is especially keen on the idea of Wuxing's famed geomancy being used against it, the ultimate humiliation. While the corporation's office's spared spaces are free game, the main target is Wuxing's treasured lotus statue, which resides within its temple on the topmost floor of the monolithic building. Your client's instructions are clear: the more damage you do, the worse the chi and the better the pay. Alright. No, she already has one. Might as well sell that then. All right. The subterranean accessway opens to one of the Wuxing Sky Tower's few employee-only entrances. As the only underground access point to Wuxing's restricted levels, security is tight. It's unheard of for authorized personnel to reach the upper levels. Naturally, that's where you're headed. Gobbet presses a slip of laminated plastic into your hand. A grainy black and white reproduction of your own face stares back at you. The rest of the card is filled with a barcode. She leans in to whisper to your ear. Kindly want you have this. Spoofed credentials, fresh off of Maximum Law's card printer. These should get you past the front door. Wouldn't count on them getting us much further, though. I guess that the client said something about other ways to bypass the check-in system inside the building, but he didn't go into specifics. Kindly had some choice words about that, but whatever will find a way past security. Almost on cue, a sturdy Wuxing security officer peers up at you from behind his desk console. Evening, ma'am. Swipe yourself in. I'm not doing that. Swipe your spoofed credentials. He looks at his console, then back at you. His eyebrows rise as he observes your company. You realize your credentials only allow you access to floor 10, right? Can't work without them. I didn't mean to hit that one, goddammit. The officer straightens up, caution overtaking his features, and why is that? They've just joined my crew. I'm escorting them to a new hires meeting. If you received authorization for your crew prior to today, then you can go pick up their credentials at the check-in terminal. As long as they're cleared, you're good to go. He hesitates, looking you and yours over. They are cleared, right? Definitely. Good. He waves you on your way. Be on your way, then. Alright, I managed to bullshit my way through that. I think I've gone on long enough. Yes. Alright. We'll continue this mission when I pick up again.